Jeff and Tom and Patrick and all of Embassy Seoul for this, I think, very excellent opportunity for me to be able to join this discussion today with you in Seoul. My only regret is that I could not be there physically present. In addition to being one of the most dynamic and vibrant cities around the world, I also have a personal connection to Seoul, having gone to junior high school there many, many years ago, over 35 years ago. So I wish I could be there today. I'm delighted to have this opportunity. I arrived in Tokyo about a year ago, and it's quite a different assignment for me, in contrast with most of my 20 years in USAID. I'm always asked by people, usually the first question is, why do we have a USAID representative in Tokyo anyway? And really my principal responsibility here is to try to promote collaboration on global development issues of mutual interest to both the United States and Japan. Obviously, for a long time, two of the most important bilateral donors worldwide. And I have also been asked to help support what is a growing interest between both our countries, South Korea and the United States, in looking for potential partnerships on a range of global development issues in which I think both countries share interest. My experience has been rather diverse, geographically speaking, having served in the Middle East, Sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America and the Caribbean, and in the former Soviet Union. And if that has made me less of an expert in any one single area, I feel it has provided for an interesting career and also a good basis, I think, on which today to convey to you the importance of USAID's cooperation and the depth of our cooperation with NGOs around the world and everywhere where we work. USAID is the principal development agency of the United States. We're an independent federal government agency that receives overall policy direction from the Secretary of State. We support U.S. foreign policy and development objectives around the world through a range of support for economic growth, agriculture, trade, health, democracy and governance, education, conflict prevention, and humanitarian assistance. Our aim, simply put, is to promote through our cooperation peace, stability, broad-based prosperity, and to help improve the lives of millions of people around the world. We were founded in 1961 as essentially an outgrowth of the Marshall Plan by President John F. Kennedy. We've become the world's largest development agency by several estimates, and we have global presence in all the major regions of the developing world: Sub-Saharan Africa, Asia, Latin America and the Caribbean, the Middle East, as well as Eastern Europe and Eurasia. Last year we managed over $14 billion in U.S. foreign assistance. We have field missions in 86 different countries, and we have regional missions which also support programs in more than 100 developing countries around the world. Our workforce is about 8,000 personnel in total, the vast bulk of which are what we call Foreign Service nationals, citizens in the cooperating countries where we're working, who really form the core of our workforce. We have a direct hire U.S. Foreign Service staff, primarily U.S. Foreign Service, of about 2,500 officers. But this is really just a small piece of the puzzle. To carry out the vast scope and volume of our programs, we really rely extensively on a wide array of partners and a partner network, which include private voluntary organizations, universities, businesses, foreign governments, trade and professional associations, multilateral organizations, other donors, and in some cases, other U.S. government agencies. USAID's operations are highly decentralized in nature, And by that I mean the general locus or core of decision making really resides in the field with our field missions, which operate as an integral part of the overall United States mission, operating under the oversight of the U.S. Ambassador. These field missions develop our strategies and programs in close consultation and collaboration with the host country government. To develop our programs and activities, we often undertake sector or program studies, most of which are conducted in close consultation with other partners. And we particularly emphasize drawing on the expertise and knowledge of NGOs with a particular specialty or presence on the ground. Once our priorities and program objectives are determined, our assistance takes a variety of forms. We can provide technical assistance and training, purchase commodities, provide capacity building, training, and scholarships, food aid, infrastructure development, such as the building of road or water systems. We provide small enterprise loans. In some cases, but still infrequent, we provide some direct budget support to governments. And we also have a credit guarantee mechanism which helps expand the impact of our resources. We almost always operate under a bilateral agreement between USAID and the government of the host nation. Underneath that, we often have more specific government-to-government agreements with the Ministry of Justice, for instance, or with the Ministry of Health to carry out public health programs. We may also do some programs directly, such as working with NGOs on certain democracy activities or working with the local private sector on business development. To carry out our program of development cooperation in countries, we have a variety of mechanisms, what we call implementation mechanisms. We competitively award contracts to carry out a specified scope of work or to provide a specified amount of equipment or commodities. But I think maybe even more relevant for the NGO community and interest are the wealth of what we call assistance instruments, primarily grants and cooperative agreements, which are normally awarded to nonprofit organizations or education institutions to accomplish a specific public purpose. With cooperative agreements, we're generally fairly substantially involved, working in partnership side by side with the NGO. Grants, which are similar to cooperative agreements, we allow the grantee substantial freedom to pursue its started program without too much involvement from USAID. U.S. interagency agreements, such as working with our Center for Disease Control in the control of infectious diseases, our multilateral contributions to organizations like the UN, and one of the, I think, the newer areas and more exciting areas of development, what we call collaboration agreements designed to facilitate our partnerships with the private sector, something that I'll touch on a little bit more a moment later. But the heart of our work are our partners. We have contracts with consulting firms, but even more frequently, I think, are our assistance agreements with a wide array of NGOs, public international organizations such as the International Red Cross, regional development banks, and many, many nonprofit groups or private voluntary organizations that are directed at educational, scientific, or other public service purposes. Some of the larger ones that we work with are CARE, Save the Children, Catholic Relief Services, World Vision, and in the conservation field, World Wildlife Fund, Conservation International, and the Nature Conservancy.